Greetings and welcome back. If you'd like to make clothes for yourself or others, you'll need to learn how to take measurements. That's what I'm going to show you today, so stay tuned. Now there are going to be some measurements that I can show you on the mannequin and some that I can't. Bear with me. Okay, so first things first, I am using a 60-inch tape measure, and you're going to want to get a 120-inch tape measure if you plan on making clothing for other people. The last thing you want to do is embarrass somebody and not have a tape measure wide enough for them. Okay, so the second thing is, how do you hold the tape measure? It seems like a pretty easy thing to figure out, but sometimes it can get confusing when you wrap it around. The numbers are upside down or backwards. On this particular one, there are centimeters and inches on one side and just inches on the other side. I prefer to work in inches, and so what I do is I will place my thumb on the one and my two fingers behind it. So I wind up holding it like this. Okay? And my one is straight up. You know, it's visible to me. I can read it. Okay? And so the very first measurement that I would take, although we can't do it on the mannequin, is your head measurement. Okay? And you want to go all the way around. And if you're doing your own measurements, it may be easier to do it in the mirror so that you can see what the measurements are without having to, bend and twist your body. So, first measurement is the head measurement. Second measurement we're going to take is the neck measurement. And you want to make sure you keep those two fingers in the back so that when you wrap it around, you have that space back there as your seam allowance. You don't want to pull it super tight because then it will be hard for you to get in and out of your garment. You always want to account for seam allowance. And because I don't wear my clothes super tight, I even add additional seam allowance to the number that I get here. Okay? Maintaining our thumb in that position and our two fingers behind, our next measurement is going to be our upper bust. And we put it all the way around and we measure just above the bust. Whenever I'm working with a client, I always like to measure off to the side, just so that I'm not measuring right on any places that might make them uncomfortable. We move down. And you want to make sure that you're coming around the widest part of the bust. And you also want to make sure that your tape measure is even all the way around. Okay, and then we have what's called the under bust. The under bust is a really important measurement for empire waist dresses. Next measurement is the waist. Now, if you're having trouble figuring out where the waist is, you can bend from side to side, and that's usually where I like to measure from. Also, if you have on pants or a skirt and you can feel where that pant or skirt sits, then that's a good area to measure as well, because that's where your pants and your skirt are going to sit. Okay? Our next measurement is going to be the hip measurement. In order to take the hip measurement, you want to make sure that you're going around the widest part of the hip in order to get the most accurate measurement. The hip measurement is going to determine how wide you need a garment to open in order to come up over your hips and fit onto your waist. So we reach round, make sure that it's level around the widest part, and there we have it. Now the mannequin that I have is not a mannequin for pants, so it's a dress mannequin. But the next measurement that I would take would be the thigh measurement. I would do each thigh separately just to make sure they're not too different. So if you made pants, it wouldn't be too far off. Also, while standing shoulder width apart, you want to take a measurement around both legs, just a couple inches above your knee. This is a measurement that I use often to make mermaid or trumpet dresses. And if your trumpet starts above your knee, it will give you a lot more flexibility to walk freely. All right, so the next measurement that we're going to do is going to be your ankle measurement. When making pants, there are a couple measurements that are a little bit difficult to illustrate on the diagram. However, I'm going to try to explain it to the best of my ability. So the first measure are the front rise and the back rise. The front rise measures from your crotch to the top of your pants, and the back rise measures from your crotch to the back of your pants. Believe it or not, these are often about an inch or more off, and depending on how large your hips are, it may be even more. The next measurement we're going to take is your dress length. We're going to come from the neck all the way down to the hem. I'm almost 5'4" and my dress length is 56. Now we're going to come around to the front and we're going to do the same measurement. You want to measure from the shoulder over the bust and all the way down to the bottom of where you'd like your hem to be. So you also want to take a measurement that measures from that same point over the bust and just above your knee. When you stop just above the knee, you want to kind of hold that point because that's going to be the point that you start from to measure our next point from above the knee to the ankle. Next, we want to measure our arm length. When measuring your arm, you want to start at the top of your shoulder. If you have a shirt on, it's really good. You can use the seams of the shirt. You want to make sure that your tape measure is nice and flat, and you want to kind of pull it and straighten your arm. Check and see about where that is. And then also you want to make sure you take a 3/4 length sleeve measurement as well. Doing this in front of the mirror makes it a whole lot easier. Our shoulder seam. In order to measure our shoulder seam, we want to come from the base of our neck over to the seam of our shirt. Usually about 3 or 4 inches. Armhole. In order to measure your armhole, you definitely don't want to have on too much fabric. Next, you want to measure your bicep. Next, you want to measure your forearm, which is just below your elbow. Finally, on the arm, you want to measure your wrist. And next, we're going to measure down as far as we feel comfortable for our V-neck. The next measurement we're going to take is from our shoulder to our waist, making sure to go over the bust. This is approximately how long our bodice needs to be when making a dress. You can do the same for the back. Our next measurement is going to be from our waist to just above our knee. After that, we're going to measure from our waist all the way down to where we'd like our hem to be for a long skirt. The next measurement I'm going to take is the empire bust. So remember, we took a bodice measurement from our shoulder to our waist, but this time I want to go from our shoulder to our under bust. Okay? There are some dresses that come out from under the bust, and we want to make sure that we have a measurement for how long that bodice is as well. Doing your best to stay level, come around and measure your empire bodice back. Alright, so if we're going to have an empire dress, we're going to need a skirt to attach to the bodice. So we're going to measure from the under bust all the way down to the hem of where we like the front of our dress to be. We're also going to do the same for the back. Because this is obviously going to be longer than a skirt that comes from the waist. And there we have most of the measurements that you'll need to begin making your own wardrobe. These are definitely not all the measurements that you can take, but these are just a few of the basic ones to get you started. What are some measurements you like to take? Leave them in the comments below. I want to start making videos for you that cater to exactly what it is you want to learn. So leave it in the comments below. What would you like to learn how to make? And if you like my earrings, I want you guys to head on over to Instagram to Miss Mary's Boutique. I got these earrings for just $5. You know, I had to get 3 more. I literally wanted to buy just about everything she had. And at $5, I almost did. If you want to continue to learn how to sew, click the link above. And don't forget to subscribe for new videos every Friday. Until next time, peace and love.